How is your weather up there?
Not bad today. It's actually not. It's in like high 40s right now, going up to around 55, 60. Not too bad.
Yeah. Wednesday morning, we're supposed to be in the 40s here.
Hey guys, can you hear us in the room?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, perfect. We are live on YouTube. I haven't sent the link out yet, but that'll be going out in a second. Just went live a second.
So that means we can talk to one another?
They can hear you.
Meaning the board can hear me.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, you're live. Everyone can hear you, so.
Oh, okay.
Be nice.
Morning, Barb.
Good morning. How are you, Joe?
Good.
Good.
Hey, Chester, Grace, Trip, how you doing, bud?
Make up your mind.
She said, make up your mind.
Well, pick one of those three. I think it applies to you, right?
Yeah, the foot's getting better.
An unknown injury, right?
Yeah, I think I bruised the outside of the foot.
That takes forever to quit hurting.
Well, it's gotten better over the last 2 days.
Good.
You got to stop that jumping rope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Dave, are we
Joe, what's it?
the Comcast calculations?
What, Pat?
Their response to me
Hey,
was.
what about Mardi Gras? I heard they're canceling the parade.
Well, the mayor is not issuing
the
permits.
numbers that she gave me the first time and said, "Here's the."
So if she doesn't issue permits, there can't be parades. Yet she's trying to say it's the crew's
I don't-
fault, not hers.
Nothing.
Oh, no.
Sticks, the 202.
I think it should.
Okay, that's what I wanted
And
to
maybe
know.
we'll get lucky and.
Yeah, she pulled the plug about a week ago
That's all.
after a meeting where they agreed that the crews were going to bring a proposal to her on the 5th of December, and she'd have an answer by the 15th of December.
Huh.
2 days later, it's nope, not doing it.
So I read that in the paper somewhere.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the crews anticipated this because, like all our beads, we didn't put any dates on them. There's no year on these. So basically, everything I purchased, I can throw next year. So that'll work.
Yeah.
The floats are all set to go. They'll just use this theme for next year. She's going to get a lot of backlash.
Joe, did you say they canceled Mardi Gras in its entirety?
Well, without the parades, basically, yes. She decided she was not issuing any permits, and without a parade permit, you can't roll. So, but she's trying to play it as if all the captains of the crews said, you know what, we're not going to do this. There was only 3 crews that had backed out, and they were all small crews. All the big crews were ready to rock and roll. So it's life in the big city. It's a lot of tax revenue gone.
Bet.
Big time. Yeah, they had some off the wall type gathering a week ago, 2 weeks ago, and Bourbon Street got loaded up. And I guess that panicked her.
3 minutes.
They didn't have a spike from it, but she just, no, not going to do it. So as the saying goes, there's always next year.
We have everyone but Dwayne. Okay.
Who are we missing? Gary and Dwayne?
I'm
Yes.
here.
Just
Oh.
Dwayne.
Yeah.
You're ready to go.
I snuck in when you weren't looking.
Oh, you certainly did.
Gary, you look like you're losing weight, are you?
I wish.
You.
That's why you can't see the rest of it.
He has lost it from the neck up.
Yeah, right.
Hey, Barb, if you want to see someone who's lost weight, wait till you see Mr. Genovese.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Is he gonna, are we gonna see him from more than just his neck up?
I doubt it.
If he stands up, you can see
I
him.
mean, can you not see? He's sitting right next to Deb.
I see him.
No, he's just a wisp of a person
I know.
anymore.
I saw him riding his bike this morning.
1 minute.
Hey, John, your sound ain't very good.
How's that?
You might want to pull it a little bit closer, John. I think the
Yeah,
mask
go
is
quite a-
blocking a bit of your
Probably be right on it.
face noise.
How's that?
Better.
Okay. You want to go live?
We're live. We're ready when.
Do we
What
have?
happened to Dwayne? He's not gonna be here?
Let's see.
Don't know.
Oh,
We have 8 watching right now.
Okay, excellent.
That may be all we're gonna get.
Okay.
Is there anybody in the room?
Yes, we have 2 wonderful owners. We have Mrs. Genovese and we have Mr. Bob Place. And of course, Charlie and Tom.
Of course.
All right, folks. Good morning, everybody, both here in Cypress Woods residency as well as in video land. I hope everybody had a fantastic Thanksgiving with safety served. It's a lot less calories just serving safety than it was a full meal. But I hope it was a blessed day for everybody. We have one item on the agenda today. Before we get going, I'm just going to do a quick roll call. Barb Burge,
Here?
John Genovese,
Here.
Joe Regenstein,
Here?
Dwayne Truitt, absent, Gary Washburn,
yeah.
and Pat Zolo.
Here.
Excellent. So we're going to go ahead and give the community a recap one more time of our proposed 2021 budget. Just so everyone understands again the complete process. We started putting this together 6, maybe 8 weeks ago at least. Joe Regenstein, Pat Zolo, myself, and David Blauer. It was several meetings, crunching the numbers, looking at the trends, looking at the projects that are needed, looking at our cash equities, our surpluses, bids. And from that, we went ahead and did our proposed draft to the board. The board looked at it. We tweaked it. After that, we sent it out to the community, to the owners, as required by not only our documents, but Florida Statute 720. Today is the anniversary, 30 days later. So now we are ready to take a vote from the board of the adoption of our 2021 budget. Board, as you all know, we do have 2 options in front of us. And Dave, is that on the board?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, everyone can see that? Good. So option number 1, all right, is that under the revenue section of our budget, we'd like to create a new line item, which is entitled last year surplus. Now, right now, we're estimating about a 50,000 surplus that could be carried over into the revenue column for 2021. It could be more, it could be less, but we won't know until December 31st. And technically, we really won't know the final number until our audit is completed by Spires and Associates. Also, under the expense items, we would reduce Newell's placeholder amount, which was 200,000, to the actual bid, which was received late, we would go ahead and reduce that 200,000 down by 42,000, hence an expense item of 158,000. That's just a net change of a $8,000 decrease in the budget over last year. If we take option one, we can hold our quarterly dues at the current price right now of $745 a quarter, no change. Option two is a little bit more aggressive, but thoughtful and proactive. Under the revenue column, we would, again, create a new line item. However, it would be titled Maintenance Relocation and Pool Renovation. Again, we're anticipating a $50,000 surplus, could be more, could be less. Now, under the expense categories, we would create two new line items. One entitled Maintenance Relocation, and the second line item would be Pool Renovation. This would create a tracking means of each project. And by the way, each project has been cited by the county that these must be completed in 2021. Now, we could add an expense of $50,900, which I will explain in just a second. Again, we have to, in the expense column, acknowledge the Newell bid and replace the placeholder of 200,000 down to 158,000, which was the actual bid that came in for next year. If we go this route, it would actually increase our quarterly dues by $9 a month, or 27 a quarter, as Mr. Blower said, 30 cents a day. That is a net change of $50,900 increase. Now, increasing by $27 a quarter times 471 lots times 4 quarters equals the $50,900 expense that we're proposing. This would be a way of creating a fund, okay, for these two required repairs, projects, whatever you want to call it. And it's just a smart way of paying a little bit as you go instead of, a large assessment. Now, this amount of $50,900 by no means is even going to equal what we know the bids are going to come in at. So we do have two options on the board, option one and option two. So what I would like to do now is we will go down the board here and we will take a vote. Please indicate if you are going to vote for option one or option two. And we'll do it in a little bit in reverse order this time. We always start out with Barb, but let's do it in reverse order this time. So Pat, option one or option two?
Deborah,
I don't think we have. Go ahead, Barb. I'm sorry.
will we have a chance to talk about anything before you take this vote?
Well, we sure can. I know we've had a lot of discussion, but yes, absolutely. Do you have something you'd like to bring in?
I do. I'd like to get a better understanding. I feel like I know our bank accounts, but I'd like to get a better understanding of our cash management report at the end of November the 26th or 25th that David posted in his report.
Particularly what item?
Particularly the ending balance in our operating checking account as of November 25th.
Okay.
Is that actual money in our account?
Dave, you want to answer that?
Yes, it is. Let me pull that up so I can see what numbers you're talking about exactly. But yeah, that's-
406,225.
Yes.
Would you say that number again, Dave? I didn't.
Barb said it.
Oh, Barb, could you say that number again?
It's 406,225.
And again, I don't have that in front of me, but I do remember that number, so I'm pretty sure, yes.
Yeah, that's about right because our average monthly expenses are right around what, $130,000 a month. We have 2 months left that we'll have expenses from. So
Well,
and again, that's real money now, but there are checks that are cut that haven't cleared the bank account yet. So any outstanding checks are still showing in that balance. And then we have December, and then that will leave us with roughly 2 months of operating expenses in that account as equity to leave in the bank and start the 2021 year because we don't get any more quarterlies for the rest of the year.
correct.
That's all. That's what we've got. But yes, that's what that is.
Have you calculated, David, to see what it's guesstimated to be the ending balance at December, since this is almost the end of November on this report?
I have not. I can pull a report and look at any outstanding checks that have been cut. But most likely it'll be right where our estimate is that we'll still continue to spend our roughly $120,000 a month. So the November financials, when they're ready, should show that another 120,000, and it'll leave us roughly with 2 months of money.
I might interject, there's one more factor. Any unpaid fourth quarter dues would not be reflected in that balance
That's
as
correct.
well. And I don't have the aging in front of me. I'm sorry, Barb, maybe you do. But that would be additional revenue coming in.
Right. So I guess if we're on a normal path for December for spending, we're still looking at over $200,000 in our bank account at the end of the year.
Right. Yeah, that's where we wanted to be. Give us 2 months of expenses. So that was sort of the plan.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yes.
Joe,
Yeah, there's no dollars in our budget for dealing with these water issues that we've been, working on with the, one like at 815, running that new line, and the other ones that keep popping up. So we still have some things we're going to have to deal with, when they come up, and they seem to be popping as people are coming back.
I
Another
just
point,
Excuse me, go ahead.
another point is, our water and sewer usage in December and November is going to actually jump up compared to what it's been because the occupancy has increased quite a bit.
Right.
So the
And
numbers
right now
don't-
we have roughly $94,000 in outstanding checks, that were cut in November that are still showing in the bank account. And then they'll reflect on the next month's financials as expenses. So if you
You said
take
how much,
100.
David?
94,000.
So there's 100,000 right there.
Dave, could you go, do you still have the slide that I prepared for the last meeting, our cash equity and asset?
Oh, I sure do.
Barb, if you'll hold on just a second, this is
Sure.
exactly.
I just want to add too that we have almost 225,000 in our reserve account.
Okay, but I'm going to show it to everyone again because this was a key point that we made at the last meeting on this chart that I prepared to show you what our cash equity is in our checking account. And the board needs to be making a decision on how to handle that cash equity. Do we leave it in a non-interest bearing checking account or do we look into interest bearing options? Which, the money's going to be there. When you operate $1 million plus budget, you need to have 2+ months of cash equity for emergency situations. That's our rainy day fund. I think we referred to it as. So did you find it?
Is it 11-1?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Got it. It's on the screen and on YouTube.
Okay, so this is what we presented at the last meeting. And this was as of November 1, by the way.
I don't have it on the screen, Deb.
You
No,
have
I
it?
don't either.
Change here.
All right.
Sit tight, okay?
Try that one. How about now?
There we go.
Yep.
There we go.
Okay. So let's just go through this because Barb, it validates what you're saying, and we'd already brought this to the attention of the community, which is all good news, by the way. In our checking accounts, our operational one is 29,775, and that's for what we get cash receipts, laundry, faxes, entry cards, whatever. Operational 2, 497,000 is what we pay our expenses out of every month. The two reserves that we have, one which is a mandated road reserve, and the second one is our contingency or board reserve, whatever you want to call it, is 211,600, giving us total monies of 738,400. Now, let's subtract out those reserves. So that leaves us operating cash of 526,800. Now, if you take our budgeted November and December expenses, it's 123,000 a month. So that's 246 for the next 246,000 for the next 2 months, November and December. Our cash equity then is $281,000. Now, at that time, we had $90,000 of outstanding checks that had not cleared. Okay. Plus, we're going to continue to do our monthly reserve funding of 26,000. All right. That is going to leave us a cash equity then of 216,900. Now, auditors every year, when we get our audit report, they recommend, 25% of our annual budget would be in cash equity. Well, their number is 369,000. We're at 216,900. But that's what we talked about at the last meeting, is that the board needs to make a very serious decision on how we want to capitalize on that money and see what our options are for investment purposes that we can have access to in a short term opposed to a long term. I hope that answers your question. Any other comments on that? Did we
No.
lose everyone?
They're all here.
I
Everyone's
don't
here.
know. We're waiting for Barb.
Oh, what are you waiting for me for? Do I understand that? Yeah,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
understand that.
well,
I just,
she asked if I'd answered your question, and you brought it up. I guess we're waiting to see what you have to say.
I understand it all, Pat. Yes.
Okay.
I would say this, Deb, regardless of the dollars we have, if it's sitting in a bank and it's not going to be needed short term, we need to be getting something on it. I realize interest rates aren't that great at this point, but there are safe places. Every little
Yeah.
bit helps.
I think after we get the budget approved, then we'll go ahead and decide what's the best route for our cash equity. All right. Any other
Absolutely.
comments? All righty. So we are ready to go ahead and take the vote for the 2021 proposed budget. Again, we have option 1 and we have option 2 that's been clearly described. So with that being said, I'm going to start with Pat Zolo, option 1 or option 2.
Well, I think it'd be fiscally irresponsible not to go for option 2, even though we went into this thing trying everything we could to hold the line on the quarterlies. But we know we have those expenses coming up. So option 2.
Thank you. Gary, option 1 or 2?
Option 2.
Dwayne is absent. Joe, option 1 or 2?
I agree with Pat's comment, and I'll go with number 2.
John Genovese, option 1 or 2?
Option 2.
And Barb, option 1 or 2?
Option 1, keep it the same.
So we have 4 for option 2, 1 for option 1. So passed. Option 2, our new quarterlies, which begin January 1, will now be, where is it in front of me? There it is. 772. David, you'll make the adjustments, send out the revised budget to our owners, and contact First Services to make sure that the payment plans for the quarterlies are in place, correct?
That's it.
Okay. We have nothing else on the agenda right now. Is there any other comments? We have a speaker, Mr. Bob Place. You know what, Bob, do you want to, yeah, can you come up here? And I'll repeat it, okay? Excellent. Hold on just a second. Mr. Place just wanted to know where we are as of, can you pull up November 30th? What's your last date on that delinquency? Maybe just a second. David has the capacity to look at it, the most current numbers, and the board view is only through the last month end, which was October 31st. So I want to see if he'll pull up the most accurate one. Sit tight. It's good to see you, by the way. How's your bride? How's your bride? Okay, you're going to do some dancing for us this year? Yeah. I'll dance outside on the tennis courts. Let's have a hoedown. Did you? I didn't know that. Okay. I remember. Do-si-do.
Yeah.
I don't even have the end of the month with me, I don't think.
It's done. It just takes a second to pull because it pulls it live. Filed it works.
Okay, so Bob's second question, while we're pulling up the most current delinquencies, is do we have anyone in foreclosure? We do have one in suit action due to late assessments as well as a special assessment. Okay. I think somewhere around 3,000 on that one. Okay. And David, has it come up yet?
I keep getting a little no
Thinking.
smoking symbol, that it's not working. I don't
You know what? I think it was under 12,000 it was under
I'll check that.
12,000 at the end of October. And usually by the second month into that quarter, I think last month it was like 1,200. So it's pretty nominal.
Let me see.
Well,
Yeah,
good.
Our last report, like $3,000 over 90 days.
Yeah, 3,000 over 90. Very controlled. It isn't. Thanks, Bob. Appreciate it as always. Before we sign off, I did want to address the community. We took on a project to try to improve our water pressure and water volume situation. And earlier this year, we teamed up with our developer and his engineers. And at the main valve, we went ahead and installed a whole new backflow system. I think it was close to 13,500, something like that, by Wayne Fire Systems. All of the pressures and volumes were tested and met all the thresholds that's required by Lee County and the fire department. We decided to take it another step. As of Tuesday, December 2nd, we have an engineer from Peninsula Engineering and an infrastructure specialist coming in to work together simultaneously with our property manager to help analyze some of the other pressure and volume problems. So this is just the beginning of a journey that is not going to stop until we come to a complete resolve. We want to make sure that this community is structurally sound, infrastructurally sound, and it's time to get the experts involved. And that's what we want to do. So I'm letting the community know it's in good hands. It's going to be followed through. It's a priority of this board. And as we get information, we'll try to translate it to the out of engineer language into language that we can all understand. So stay tuned. And as we get more information, we'll make sure that we go ahead and feed it to our community as well. So with that, I just need a motion to dismiss unless,
Joe is.
Joe, is that you?
One quick thing, D101 reported, let me know that their pressure is up from what it was last year.
Did you say B as in boy?
D as in David?
D as in David, 101 pressure is increased.
Yes.
Okay.
And a lot of people have experienced that. When we put the backflow in, it really did increase pressure to a lot of homes. And then other people saw no increase at all. And some people who weren't here over the summer came back to less pressure. So we know that there's at least more pressure and volume inside of the mains. That's a good thing. So at least we're starting with the adequate water. But then we have some little localized issues that could be caused by a bunch of different things. So yeah, the backflow, very positive. I mean, it helped us tremendously, a solid 20% increase. So.
And I do want to acknowledge our developer. Of that 13,500, he paid almost 3,700 of that bill, which is a prorated amount based on 137 lots. All right. So I want to acknowledge and show our appreciation for that.
And covered all the engineering.
And he covered all the engineering costs. Yes. And that was probably more expensive than that. So we're definitely taking advantage of this partnership with our developer. He's got some very talented people on his development team, architects, engineers, etc. So thank you to L26 and Laguna Carib. Any other comments? If not, motion to adjourn.
I'll make a
Motion to
motion.
adjourn.
John
Second.
Genovese made the motion and second by Joe. Everyone be safe,